Where are you on pension and health benefit reforms and the budget process? President of the NJEA announced last week he wasn't going to participate in reform talks. The president said he's going to send you a budget including an extra $1.8 billion in pension funding. Is there any progress on that front, or are we at a stalemate at this point?
Well, listen, there's no progress at the moment. I'm disappointed that the teachers union walked away from their willingness to be able to sit at the table and talk about solving the problem. That's all I said the framework was an agreement on the roadmap, was an agreement to talk about the problem.
But their allegation is that you wouldn't consider any revenue raisers as part of the solution.
The fact is that they never got anywhere near coming to final negotiations with this. And why should they care about revenue raisers? I mean, are they in charge of raising taxes for the state of New Jersey? I mean, the fact is that, we were in the midst of discussions with them and the commission. And I'm disappointed that they're unwilling to continue conversations to fix the pension of their members. Because in the end, it's their members.
So what happens if you get a budget from the legislature that includes, for example, a millionaire's tax hike to pay additional monies into the pension fund?
Listen, I'm not going to get into speculation about what they may or may not do. Senator Sweeney's statements were vague enough, kind of the typical politician talk. We'll find efficiencies. I mean, how many times have you heard this song?
Well, a combination of revenue raisers and governmental efficiencies.
Yeah, governmental efficiencies for $1.8 billion. This in a budget where we have already cut spending over the last 5.5 years, $2.5 billion in discretionary spending, below where it was in fiscal year 2008. So, the fact is, whatever they're going to do, they're going to do. I hope that, as has been the course at least any number of times during my time as governor, that they'll negotiate a budget with me if that's what they choose to do. If they choose not to do it and they choose to pass a budget on their own, that's their responsibility if they want to do it that way. And then I will utilize my constitutional authority through the line item veto and the regular veto to be able to put the budget in a condition that I think makes sense. But we're not going to do this with smoke and mirrors. We're not going to do this with, the kind of tricks that get played in budget language. If they want to make real reductions to the budget, I've never been somebody who's been reluctant to make real reductions to the budget. The budget's been reduced under me in discretionary spending by $2.5 billion over the last 5.5 years. So I will be more than happy to engage in conversations, as I always am, with the Senate President and the Speaker. I'm not going to get into speculation about what I will do and what I won't do. That's counterproductive, as we've talked about any number of times. The Senate President wants to negotiate in public and make these grand statements. That's certainly his prerogative. I'm not the guy who's going to do that regarding budget negotiations.
Whether it's connected to this issue or not, if they send you a millionaire's tax hike, will you veto it again?
Well, they solve every problem by raising taxes, and they refuse to accept any reforms. So, I've vetoed a millionaire's tax, I think, 4 times now.
4 times, yeah.
So, sometimes past is prologue.
All right.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, again, I'm not going to negotiate in public. I don't do that. I simply don't do that. I'm not going to negotiate in public on the budget. It doesn't make any sense to do that, and I'm not going to. I have plenty of private conversations. I spoke just last week with both the Speaker and the Senate President, and we had very individual, candid conversations with each other. And, the Senate President wants to make public pronouncements. That's his prerogative. He's an elected official. He wants to do that. That's fine. I'm not going to do it in kind. Fact is, we have till June 30th to pass a budget. I'm confident we'll do that. And whether we do that in a negotiated way where everybody agrees, or whether we do it in a way where they don't negotiate it, they send it to me, and then I use my constitutional authority through the line item veto and the absolute veto to be able to put that budget into the shape that the people of New Jersey have come to expect during the years I've been governor, with restrictions in spending and, not costing the people of the state more money. We'll see which way it goes.